Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Stallions Run. Of course, your host, as always, Buck with Scout. Scout, that was one heck of a game this past Saturday in Protective Stadium. Again, an amazing victory over the St. Louis Battlehawks. The final score being 30-26, Birmingham. Scout, give me your thoughts on the game. What was your thoughts on the God? Could this possibly be the game of modern spring football?
Yeah, I definitely think it was one of the better ones. It was definitely not the best start. Obviously, two three and outs, then an interception and a touchdown. Like I didn't think we'd get the fireworks that we got based on just like the first quarter alone. But yeah, but we ended up getting fireworks, I believe. Great turnout by the fans. 14-4 officially felt like a little bit more than that. But yeah, and there was a great amount of Battlehawks fans too. Got to shout out them, and I mean like not just Bama fans rooting for the Battlehawks. I mean like actual Royals fans with a Battlehawks t-shirt on, or Blues fans with a Battlehawks t-shirt on. So yeah.
Yeah, there were some fans. There were some people like, okay, I'm gonna call this out. There were some people saying like, oh, like 1,000 Battlehawks fans showed up. I'm gonna guess it was maybe 100, Still made themselves known, but not exactly the crowd people were saying traveled from St. Louis. So I just want to say that real quick. But the ones who did travel to Birmingham, very nice, weren't causing any problems or anything like that. So I just want to say, shout out to them for coming and enjoying the game and not being nuisances. So I will happily take that over any bad fans. But let's get into the game. So kind of going off to start. For at least the first half, it felt like Birmingham was in complete control. You have Birmingham kind of just going out there. They have a first drive that's not great. Then you have the Battlehawks. They go out there. AJ McCarron gets picked pretty quickly. That kind of leads into some of its own kind of controversy because I believe that was a drive where the non-PI was called. Skip challenges it. It's ruled PI. They move it to the 1 yard line, and then becomes a touchdown uh, with the missed extra points. But you had some like relatively like okay, this game could get out of control quickly, kind of mannerisms kind of going on. I guess what was your thoughts on the first half because it felt like two very different games from half to half.
Yeah, the first half, it was a slugfest to say the least. I felt like we were gaining control. We got up 10-0 at one point, or no,
Mm-hmm.
9-3, not 10-0. My fault. They did get
Yeah,
a field goal.
9-3.
Shout out my fantasy kicker, Andre Schmidt. Um, but yeah, we were just struggling to pull away, right? St. Louis took the lead. Hakeem, but now I will say one thing here. Kenny Robinson did a great job of guarding Hakeem Butler, but great players will get away with like, a few plays.
Yeah.
And it was either that touchdown drive or one of the field goal drives. He got like a 30-yard catch from. And hey, you got to deal with the punches there. But I will say, and my final comment on the first half was, by God, we steal points. With what is
Yep.
it? So we had 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 12 seconds on the clock, something like that. And we scored in under 2 minutes. We scored a touchdown. 9 plays, 64 yards, 2-minute drive. And that is just insane to me. And I will say, is I was sitting in the end zone this whole time. I walked out thinking, hey, they aren't going to score. And then Andre Schmidt hit like a 60-yarder while I was like using the bathroom in the suite. Um, but but first half, we battled through it, 17-14. I think it would have been a lot easier. The game would have been a lot easier if we went in up a full six, especially because we
Yeah.
missed the field goal on the first drive after. But still, a great first half in my opinion. We battled the punches. The long first half. I didn't even really realize until we were doing our breakdowns. So there were a total of so in the first quarter we had four drives, and then in the
Yeah.
second quarter we had five from what I'm seeing here,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes.
like it was just so insane to see these quarters just like speed along, basically. Um, and but yeah, but it was a slugfest, a defensive battle in the first half, and then we went on to the second half.
Yeah. So the second half from there, it was very odd because no, I won't say odd. It was strange because St. Louis was clearly in control for a good chunk of that third quarter and in parts of that fourth quarter because it was almost like as soon as the locker room came out, and this is something this for the first time I saw with the Stallions, was they got really greedy with their lead, and they were allowing kind of St. Louis to kind of like go, hey, we're just gonna kind of take their foot off the pedal. You guys do your thing, and that quickly got out of hand. The defense was able to make a few stops, but of course the Battlehawks were able to twice manage to be able to score a touchdown to be able to kind of go, okay, we still, we're going to take control of this situation, and we're going to try to make sure that we can win this game. Um, I mean, I think with the one thing we got mentioned, special teams, that was that was something. I mean, overall, I don't think I'm going to be crazy when I'm saying the same. And I think that was probably the worst special teams performance we have seen from this team ever. I can't remember a worse special team performance in the 3 years of the Stallions. So, but to be fair, big game, get nerves. So that might have been playing a part of it. But overall, I think really this is where the offense kind of stepped up and said, "Okay, guys, we need to go get points. Go get us points." And I think for especially Adrian Martinez, I mean, God, that last touchdown to make it 30-26, that was something. Um, but also defense deserves a shout out because you have the weird punt where St. Louis has like 20 seconds to be able to go get some kind of
Yeah.
points. Had to be a touchdown. And the defense turned into, okay, we're just going to turn into a 4-and-out, and that's exactly what they did. So overall, great first half, mediocre second half. Special teams absolutely did not have a great day, especially that second half. That's something that's probably going to be that's being addressed probably right now. But yeah, what's your thought? What was your thoughts on the second half, Scout?
Sorry, I was responding to his text.
Uh,
So my thing was, and on even on special teams in the first half is like we had the muff punt, right?
mhm.
So my whole thing was that in the second half we really like opened it up on offense, but they also figured out what worked on offense. And they also took advantage of our mistakes, like the missed field goal. We had a few times where we had to punt. I think did we punt twice, I believe? Or did we not punt?
I believe twice. Yeah.
Yes. And one of them was blocked, which also brings a weird, or like, I'm not a huge specialist rule. I don't really understand where our field goal rules are and aren't. Because in the DC game, DC Michigan game, they had a field goal that landed in the end zone. They called it a touchback. But then in our game, like we didn't go for the field goal. But I'm like, if we went for the field goal, could that have been a touchback if it landed in the end zone? I don't know. But I just felt like the play calls on that final drive they weren't necessarily like I wouldn't say they were dumb, but like I feel like they could have been better, especially with like the way QB runs were working. I would have really liked to see another like Adrian Martinez run. But yeah, but
Hmm.
it was just insane. So
Yeah. All right. So we got the win. Still, you got to take that. And then the next day, Michigan went up to DC. They went on and played on went and played the defenders to get that win. I believe it was a 22-9 victory for Michigan, but it also sealed the playoffs for the Stallions. Home field is not yet decided, so we're having to wait on that one still. But we do know who our opponent's going to be. Check out thoughts on the Michigan Panthers being the opponent in the USFL championship for the Birmingham Stallions.
Yeah. Oh, and as a final thing before we go on to the Panthers, um, for those of you that did not know, we started a trend. We're trying to start a trend in the North End Zone,
Oh no,
of basically, we don't know if the Hawaiian shirt thing is gonna last, but at least take your shirt off whenever the Stallions win.
no, I'm not.
At
I am
least for
not
the
taking
guys.
part of this. I do not
And
endorse this. I'm just saying that.
And Buck does not endorse it. However, Buck is a part of the other crowd where if you want to come be rowdy, you don't have to take your shirt off. It's completely optional.
Okay.
But Buck did get rowdy with us in the end zone
Yeah,
as
yeah,
Kevin Austin Jr. scored the game-winning
yeah,
touchdown. Anyways,
yeah.
Michigan Panthers. They're on their fourth or fifth quarterback. I do believe Etling will be back for June 1st. Um, but wait, did I say Panthers? We're playing
Yes, you said
Houston this week,
Panthers.
right?
No,
Oh,
we're talking
are we
about
doing a pre?
the Panthers. We're talking about the
Okay.
Michigan Panthers just clinched the playoffs.
Yes, okay. Talking about
Yeah,
Panthers, my fault.
yeah,
Yes. I'm locked in now, sorry. Um, but yeah, so the Panthers are great. They have Etling, I believe will be the quarterback whenever we play them. West Hills at running back, that's another great name. They have tons of players on defense. Tons. Um, and it will be a very tough battle, is what I will say. This is the team that came closest to beating us, in my opinion. And granted, it was on the road, but I like to say, we play better on the road. So who really knows? I do think that there will be some. It'll be interesting how we treat it because I think at this point, as long as we win one of the next two, we are locked in
if the
to
Stallions win, if the Stallions win this upcoming week against Houston and Michigan loses, who I forget who their opponent is, I want to say it's I want to say it's an XFL opponent. It's not.
yeah.
I believe are they playing? They can't be. Are they playing San Antonio? They might be playing. Hang
Um,
on. Also, but basically, whoever if Michigan loses, we clinch home field advantage.
yeah.
So,
Now,
um,
now we're both looking.
but what's
They
your thoughts
play
on the?
they play Memphis this
They
week.
play Memphis. Yes.
Yes, they play Memphis,
Um.
Houston, and Birmingham.
So, but here's the thing: Week 10 at the moment, no one's really sure what that's going to be like because one, the way that things look right now, Birmingham is likely to be the one to have home field advantage. So we could be seeing twice in a row Birmingham hosting the Michigan Panthers. How do you think that people are going to be viewing Week 10 right now? Because, in my opinion, barring something crazy happening with the Stallions, it looks like we're probably going to be hosting Michigan at home back to back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so how do I say this? If so, I guess this is an if. So like, let's say we go
Mhm.
into Houston and win, San Antonio win, and then we don't have to worry about anything with the Panthers. If we win or lose that last game, we're still hosting. I think the fan perspective will be that that game does not matter. Obviously, Skip Holtz that we've proved that we care about the Week 10 game no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think fan wise, I think they'll all be more prepared for the playoff. I think that they'll take that week off. Obviously, we get insane TV ratings or whatever, so they'll probably turn it on at
Yeah.
home or something. But uh, it's just one of those things, man. And also, God, I just don't know. I don't know exactly, but if it's like a play-in game for home field advantage, I do think Birmingham will take it seriously. Like the fans of Birmingham will take it seriously.
Right.
I think the city will show out again. Hopefully we can get some more. I know like the WJOX or WJOX, I forget how they actually go by. But they had Damian Mitchell come out. I know that they've been talking about on Cold Cube and stuff. But maybe we'll see some more like like next rounds out there. Vibes out there. There's a bunch of Birmingham
Okay,
sports to talk, right?
okay,
But
all right. So, but focusing on the Week 10 game,
yeah,
I guess what you so I guess you're saying is if it's going to be really for nothing, and do you think so? You think both teams if we already have an idea of what it's going to be like, both teams will view it as almost like a live scrimmage for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if it's still okay, we can work for home field advantage. Both teams are going to take it deadly serious. So that's what you're
So
saying,
I think the teams will take it serious no matter what, right? I'm just saying the
right?
fans will see the big picture of hey, this really doesn't matter. Now, in that same vein, you might see a few starters only play a half or treat like a preseason game almost. Um, but yeah, but it's very interesting. And I would like to point out, I like to point out something with this Panthers team, is that they have come, they're so up and down. And I'm looking at it right now, right? So they lost by 10 to San
Mm-hmm.
Antonio. They lost by 7 to us. They beat St. Louis by 2. They beat Arlington by 1, Saints on both a game-winning field goal. And it's like this team's just so up and down. And I just don't know how to project them. I think that they'll beat Memphis. I think they'll beat Houston, but they could also just like, switch up against one of those. I think if they switch up against any of them, it will be Houston. But for me, it's just so interesting. I do think Houston's going to try to play a spoiler to everybody for they're playing on a new season, they're
Okay,
playing with
okay,
house
we'll
money.
reach Houston. We'll get to Houston.
But
We'll get to Houston. Don't
okay,
worry. Uh, so just real quick though, before we do move on to our Houston preview, I wanted to mention one thing. You kind of brought this up a little bit. We did hit the season record for fans, a little over 14,000 in protective. That's the official number. I personally believe it's closer to 15,000. The way the stadium was packed out, and the way with walk-ups, I think it's closer to 15 or 16,000. Just my opinion on that one. But I don't know just the way things seemed out there. It seemed a lot more packed compared to normal. Scout, what was your thoughts? I mean, the end zone at least. The way I was viewing from my club seat, man, there was a lot more people than normal out in that north end zone.
yeah. Look, I don't know who reports our numbers. I know like every ticketing, every team that plays in protective calls it a different way. He's like, look, I went to one UAB game. I watched probably the other four, or at least four of the other five on my TV, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they weren't averaging 20,000, right? Like they might have sold 20,000 tickets, but they weren't averaging 20,000. And I think what we're doing is that we might have 20,000 people in there, but we might end up giving away, three or four. So then our numbers get lower. But it's just like Legion, so Legion, their max in the past 2 years has been 18,000. But what Legion does is they do not go off of like necessarily tickets, they go off of the turnstile. So if you paid and didn't go, you still don't count to the attendance. But if you got in the door, it counts to like, the turnstile, the attendance. And for me, I much prefer that, right? I much prefer um, having a live number of people. Like having a revenue number is fine. Like we could have both of those. But what's more important, right? Like, is the dollar amount more important, or is having people like actually show up, actually support more important? Because
Well, here's the
like
thing. Here's the thing with that. In the end of the day, the UFL is about TV numbers. It's not about
yeah,
attendance numbers. That's something that people need to realize. I'll be honest. Let me just say this, and I'm probably gonna get some slack for this comment. What you're seeing when you see, especially a lot of people crying about attendance on Twitter, they're a bunch of old geezers who think they understand how things work nowadays. No, you want to know how sports leagues get their money now? TV. Sports is basically the last great profitable ad space for networks. So having something like the UFL for both Fox, ABC, ESPN, it's gold. The UFL is pure 100% just gold for these networks. So you're just kind of cool on the Jets when it's like, oh, nobody's watching. No, advertisers are watching and they like the numbers. So that's all I'll have to say about that on that front. But anyway, yeah. So Scout, but now we get to talk about Houston. So tell me your thoughts. This is part two. We've already played for Houston in Houston. That was not a pretty game for the Houston Roughnecks. Do you think we might see a repeat after the performance against San Antonio?
Yeah, I was trying to see. I swear we had a Roughnecks graphic, right?
We
If
might
I can
have in
if
the
I can
past, but I
find
don't
it
know.
within.
Uh, okay, but anyway,
Anyways,
so
okay. But
yeah,
yeah, but this is a weird team, right? So I've been following the Roughnecks more than I'd want to because I've been the one that's had to deal with the Roughnecks quarterbacks on my fantasy team. And it's not great. It's not great. They lose games outright. They don't find a way to lose like Arlington does. They just lose games, right? And to say that they have great weapons. They have Mark Thompson. They have, I think their quarterbacks are actually solid. I think Reed Sennett's good. I think Hendershot's good. I think or Henderson is good, and I think Garantano's good. But it's like it just doesn't work. And I think both Flip and Kurt are in this moment where they need a change. They're trying to do what they did last year, what worked last year, and they're realizing, hey, this isn't working currently. I think they have great defense. I think that's what we have to worry about is their defense. They have Chris Odom. They have all those other players. You can go on and on about it. I love their DB unit, their defensive back unit. But everything else, it's just like, it's sloppy. They make mistakes. They give up big plays. They should have beat San Antonio last week. Is the very bare minimum of it. And they didn't. They were at home. They had nothing to lose. They had bad weather before the game, but during the game it was crystal clear. And somehow they ended up losing the game anyway. Um, so yeah, uh, I just don't think this team's very good. I think we match up very well against them. I do think we will have issues running the ball with a running back this week. Obviously, they do have a little bit more meat in the inside, but
mhm.
past that, I think we can get away with a lot of good like inside passes and such. This is a game I'd probably put Matt Corral out there just in case. Rest Martinez, but also Matt Corral has better legs. And also I have to take back everything I said last week about Martinez's legs because he got real I don't know if he got antsy or if it was like, game plan, like if he wanted like if it was like Phil Montgomery telling him, don't try to escape, just take the sack. We don't need a fumble or something, right? But he lost that. So if we want Matt
Mhm.
Corral, have a better mobile option, great. But I think it'll be interesting. Home game, last home game for a while. I know 2 weeks isn't a while, but a while. Uh, I do think we'll probably get a decent 9K, 10K attendance. Um, but yeah, but that is my rant on the 2024 Houston Roughnecks.
All right. I'm foreseeing a kind of almost similar game to what we saw a few weeks ago against Houston. Unfortunately, I think this is going to kind of lead to an almost a boring game. I think Adrian Martinez is still going to be the starter. I don't see any reason why he's going to be, put on the bench for any reason, unless maybe there's a slight injury. They just want to let him rest up from that. So I'm going to say for my prediction, and Scott, I'll ask for yours in a second. I'm going to say Birmingham Stallions. Give it to me 35. I'm going to say the Roughnecks score a little more, 15. What do you think, Scout?
35-15, 42-9.
Okay, okay, we're going there. All right, all right. Well, that has been it for this week's episode of Stallions Run. Scout, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Southern Charm SP. That's where I talk the most crap, like you've heard for the past 5 minutes. And then on any other app, Southern Charm Sports. If we're not there yet, sorry about it. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And we post a variety of content. We post UFL stuff, Stallion stuff, other team stuff, and just everything else. Currently
Yeah.
basketball, hockey, anything. So yeah.
All right. And well, you can find me at Stallions UFM. Post game thoughts, halftime, post game. I'm gonna be, of course, when like episodes drop. So follow me on Twitter. You can find me there. You can also find where I was very happy to drop some receipts on on some St. Louis fans and more. So again, Stallions UFM. We'll see you guys next week.